Often, if a game is good, it gets a sequel, which is sometimes even better than the original game, and sometimes much, much worse.
Look.
How do you get Pac-Man 2 wrong? The cruelest scenario, though, is when a great video game for some reason never receives a sequel, leaving us to wonder about what might have been. That's the case with these 7 amazing games that we can't believe never got a sequel. Enjoy, and beware spoilers ahead for the following.
While the title does make it sound like some kind of adorable virtual pet simulator / screensaver, Square Enix's Sleeping Dogs is, in fact, one of the greatest open-world crime games ever created, and one that, bafflingly, still doesn't have a sequel almost 9 years after its release. A hard-boiled Hong Kong-set crime drama, Sleeping Dogs tells the story of Wei Shen, a cop who goes undercover to infiltrate the Sun On Yi triad gang.
You must be a very dangerous man, Wei Shen. That is exactly what we want people to think.
Wei is specifically chosen for his troubled past, his aptitude for criminal behaviour, and his ties to Hong Kong's crime families, and much of the game is spent on a knife edge as the triad gang members come close to figuring out that Wei isn't one of them. This, by the way, is made considerably funnier if you wear the DLC police uniform in cutscenes.
Wei, we've been waiting for you.
You guys smell something? I do. 一直食屎嘅老鼠啊！
What set Sleeping Dogs apart was that it did so many different things so well. The main character, Wei, was extremely likeable thanks to a great performance from Die Another Day actor Will Yun Lee, and the story was gripping and full of memorable characters.
欢迎光临. Can I help you with something?
Yeah. Are you Ping?
No, there's no Ping.
How about the owner then?
I'm the owner. Just not Ping.
All right, not Ping.
Mechanically, the game was just fun as hell to play, with excellent arcadey driving, super cool John Woo-style slow-motion gunplay, and the best melee combat system outside of the Batman Arkham games, filled with bone-breaking special moves
Winning isn't everything.
and brutal environmental takedowns. Oh, and I haven't even mentioned the DLC, in which Wei goes to an Enter the Dragon style fighting tournament on a secret island full of kung fu treachery.
Only one can be champion.
This is insane.
Or the one where he fights Chinese hopping vampires.
It's got my niece. Save her, Wei!
So why no sequel? Developer United Front Games was apparently working on one back in 2013, but it was scrapped before it went into production, which, if you ask us, is a crime. The kind I, Wei Shen, am fine with, because I'm not a cop. What? I just like the lights. Honestly, you're all so suspicious.
In 2005, the RPG virtuosos at game development studio BioWare released Jade Empire, a gorgeous action role-playing game set in a fantasy realm inspired by Chinese mythology, in which you play a young martial artist on a mission to find your purpose and fulfill your destiny.
Find your purpose. Fulfill your destiny.
Like I say, this game came 2 years after BioWare's superlative Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic and 2 years before the mighty Mass Effect, so you might say those BioWare folks were on a hot streak.
Many decisions lie ahead. None of them easy.
And in many ways, they were. Jade Empire was an absorbing Xbox exclusive RPG with all the hallmarks of a BioWare banger, with its immersive story.
It would seem that my past is catching up to me, and you are destined to be swept along.
And its myriad unforgettable characters.
I am Zin Bu, the magic abacus. I was assigned to record, tabulate, and itemize the destruction that you cause.
Then, of course, there were the irresistible romances.
You are a surprising little peasant.
Not to mention the bit where John Cleese challenges you to a formal debate.
I'll pose my argument about why your foolish land stumbles like a child, and you try to answer.
Then you publicly roast him and kick his butt afterwards. Not even Fable let you do that. What's more, if the stop-start turn-based combat of Knights of the Old Republic hadn't floated your boat, you might have found Jade Empire's real-time martial arts combat and multiple fighting styles more your speed. Unlucky for Jade Empire though, sales were on the disappointing side, and between one thing and another, here we are 16 years later, still without a Jade Empire 2. I guess BioWare has had a lot on its plate, and at least we got Anthem. Anywho, I put it to you that Jade Empire was a brilliant RPG that got buried at the end of the original Xbox's life cycle, and if it had instead come out a few months later as an Xbox 360 launch exclusive, by now we'd all be playing Jade Empire 3, and we'd be better for it.
One of Serrano's new squad.
That clown?
2011 sci-fi shooter Bulletstorm posed the simple question: what if Gears of War, but less brown and less sad? That is the most miserable I've ever seen anyone look while pulling a sick handbrake turn. Bulletstorm was made by developer People Can Fly in association with Gears studio Epic Games and has similarly chunky characters, but it swapped all the grim pathos for childish jokes about willies and butts.
Need to get some pads for my ass. Old gal wasn't built for that much abuse.
I'm not interested in quantifying how much abuse your ass is built for.
And the dull Gears of War palette for the spectacular colours of a planet called Stygia. Was that the colour blue? Wild. Bulletstorm also shook things up in other ways. Its first-person gameplay encouraged you to eliminate enemies in as wacky a way as possible, with higher point scores awarded to more ridiculous kills and combos. They should have called it Electric Whip and then kicked into a sort of alien cactus storm. Probably wouldn't have fit on the box. In amongst all the chaotic nonsense and puerile humour though was a compelling pulpy science fiction story penned by talented comics writer Rick Remender. The main characters might have been crass, but they were also as likeable as antagonist General Serrano was unlikable.
You told us the targets were gun runners, slave traders, mass murderers.
Yeah, I lied.
So pretty likeable then. Unfortunately, whether because of marketing and trailers that focused too much on the rude jokes, or the lack of a competitive multiplayer mode to give it longevity, Bulletstorm failed to set the world on fire in terms of sales. One of the very few ways it failed to set the world on fire, in fact.
Grayson. General Kid.
Developer People Can Fly has expressed an interest in resurrecting the series at some point, but it's currently busy making Outriders for Square Enix, which is another sci-fi shooter, but this time with fewer jokes about human anatomy.
Nobody's stopping, but you're a biological sledgehammer. Act like one.
Well, unless I've seriously misunderstood the term biological sledgehammer.
Sorry for the wait, Mr. Flores. I am ready to take you now.
Take me? Take me where?
Now, there's no need to be nervous.
Nervous? No. It's just your appearance. It's a little intimidating.
Intimidating? Me? But I'm your friend. My name's Manny Calavera. I'm your new travel agent.
1998 was an incredible year for video games, seeing the release of Half-Life, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, Banjo-Kazooie, Metal Gear Solid, and the next game in our list, Grim Fandango. And yet, Grim Fandango is the only game in that list not to have spawned a sequel, which is easily the greatest video game crime in history, if you don't count Ride to Hell Retribution.
Toledo Conway?
A brilliantly unique mashup of Day of the Dead iconography and film noir tropes, Grim Fandango had you playing as Manny Calavera, a Grim Reaper/travel agent whose job is to help dead souls make their journey through the underworld, but who gets embroiled in a hard-boiled web of crime, deceit, and beat poetry.
I curl into a fist. The end.
Super stylish, with a gripping plot and characters who are incredibly fleshed out, considering that they're all skeletons, Grim Fandango was also very funny, and packed with the kind of puzzles that would stump you for just long enough that you felt like a genius when you finally solved them.
Fill a dent. Good for dents, great for dentures.
And yet somehow, Grim Fandango is one of the few LucasArts adventure games to not have a sequel, despite being one of the most interesting, rich, well-realised universes ever created for a video game. Probably didn't help that it sold worse than pilot lessons from Harrison Ford. That's not to say it couldn't happen. Original game director Tim Schafer's new company, Double Fine, acquired the license from Disney after Disney bought Lucasfilm, and Double Fine then went on to be acquired by Microsoft, so technically the ball is in Microsoft's court. To be honest though, considering the amount of time it's taking them to get Halo Infinite out the door, I wouldn't hold your breath.
Developed such a reputation, I'm not going to be able to hold on to you any longer. You're getting promoted. Go on, get your new assignment. It was good working with you, son.
LA Noire was a game from Grand Theft Auto developer Rockstar that cast you as Cole Phelps, a 1950s Los Angeles detective who spends his time driving recklessly, being rude to people, and rotating objects back and forth in his hands. Also occasionally solving crimes, when time allowed. Solving crimes, in fact, was the point of the game, and what LA Noire did so well. You had to visit crime scenes, gather evidence, make notes and form deductions, and then, armed with this info, you could interrogate suspects whose facial expressions would give you subtle clues as to whether or not you were on the right track. Okay, sometimes it wasn't so subtle. But that's why it's such a shame that since the release of LA Noire in 2011, there's been no sign of LA Noire 2. Although it had its flaws, LA Noire was full of really interesting ideas and gameplay mechanics. It managed to blend the slower-paced detective work with some impressive action sequences that were the equal of anything in Rockstar's other more action-oriented franchises. That's why a sequel with improved technology incorporating everything that Rockstar learned from the first game could be something very special indeed. Also, it could have a protagonist who wasn't an unlikable dick. Imagine.
Looks like a drug overdose.
Get away from him, Phelps. This is my case.
Shut your mouth. Since when does a bagman work a case?
I knew this creep wasn't on the morphine heist. Victim of his own product.
Hey, detective! Can we back it off a notch?
Sadly, with Rockstar focusing on other franchises and the studio that made LA Noire, Team Bondi, having been disbanded, it looks like LA Noire is as dead as, well, Cole Phelps in a tar pit. Sorry, Cole.
Sevastopol's a supply depot in the region. It's a permanent free port
I
facility.
know what it is.
Transit's arranged. There's a courier ship called the Torrens heading out that way in 2 days. We're going to travel out.
We?
Me and another exec. And you, if you're willing.
Games based on the Alien franchise of sci-fi horror movies are the very definition of a mixed bag. For every Aliens arcade, there's an Aliens Colonial Marines. For every Alien 3 on the Genesis, there's an Alien 3 on the Commodore 64. And for every Alien vs Predator, there's an Alien vs Predator 3D. It's generally agreed, though, that no game has nailed the tone and uneasy tension of the original Alien movie better than Alien Isolation. Though there'd be a lot less uneasy tension if people could stop putting their faces right up to those eggs. Aside from the atmosphere, the brilliance of Alien Isolation lies in the alien itself. This towering creature was powered by sophisticated AI and stalked you throughout the environment, getting more aggressive and cunning as the game went on. Which is a bit of a problem, because I'm certainly not getting any smarter. In general, those who played it loved it, but critics complained that the game was too long, though that might be the fact that the sustained tension was the equivalent of an 8 to 10 hour cardio workout session.
I can hear it. I can see it.
No! Get in!
Hide! Please don't look at me.
It didn't help that the game had multiple fake-out endings. That included the one right at the very end, where you're about to finally reach your evacuation ship, but then fall all the way down the space station and into an alien nest. In space, no one can hear you scream, "Oh, piss!" A few negative reviews based on this issue dampened player enthusiasm for the game, and while it's generally considered a cult classic, and the alien itself was a groundbreaking video game enemy, Alien Isolation ultimately didn't sell enough copies to warrant a sequel. Sadly, it seems among gaming fans, there's simply no appetite for being menaced by a 9-foot-tall horror with razor-sharp claws. No appetite at all.
Welcome to Bullworth Academy. I'm sure you'll be very happy here. Very happy indeed.
Rockstar Games' Bully is brilliant. It's even better than that other open-world Rockstar franchise, Grand Theft Auto, despite being 1,000,000 times less popular or successful. And yet here we are anxiously awaiting news of Grand Theft Auto 6, while we've all but given up hope of ever hearing about Bully 2.
Done a lot of naughty things, haven't you? Vandalism, graffiti, bad language, violent conduct, disrespecting staff. Oh, I'm scared of you, Hopkins.
Come on, give me a break.
Bully's greatest strength was its atmosphere. Although Bullworth Academy and the town of Bullworth are nowhere near the size of the worlds of Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead, they're full of character and personality.
Remember, you will have a clean nose, so keep it clean, or we'll clean it for you.
You get to know every part of them like the back of your hand, from the library and the observatory to the sports field and the carnival. And while not many of us have ever been cowboys or mass-murdering ex-bank robbers, most of us will have been to school and will most likely have experienced things like those Jimmy goes through in the game.
Oh my God! Corn!
Well, maybe not that. The seasons change as you progress through the game, showing you Bullworth at Christmas, complete with seasonal missions and ugly knitwear, and Halloween, a great standalone section in which Jimmy has to perform the ultimate prank while dressed as a skeleton.
It's Halloween! All the prefects are at some party and the teachers are entertaining, I use that word loosely, the kids.
The changing seasons make Bully feel like a grimy Harry Potter where you cause chaos and menace the other kids instead of scrumping for unicorn horns with Gary Oldman or whatever the hell it is they do in those movies. Added to that, the various cliques, seasons and characters in Bully make for a really fun variety of missions. You might go from taking a date to the carnival, to defending an observatory from a jock invasion, to helping some nerds escape from a booby-trapped funhouse. It's way more diverse than Grand Theft Auto's endless drive somewhere then shoot people missions, and absolutely no one got tortured with a car battery, so Rockstar can do it, it seems, they just don't want to anymore. And that was just the regular missions. Bully was also packed with great little minigames. My favourites were the actual school lessons, which took the form of minigames vaguely related to the subject in question, including Boggle for English, Quicks for art, and a rhythm action game for music. Beautiful. So that's why I'm mad that it came out 15 years ago and hasn't had a sequel yet, despite being the best thing Rockstar has ever done. Yeah, you heard me, Rockstar. What are you going to do? Put me in detention? Make me mow the school lawn? Ha! Nice try. You're only proving my point because the fact that the punishments are actually boring, therefore incentivizing you to avoid them, is yet another example of the excellent attention to detail in Bully, which was one of the things that made it so good. So you've proved my point there, haven't you? Rockstar, so think on that in future when you're like, oh, well, I'll make him mow the lawn. Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh boy, okay, Andy's going to be some time if I know Andy. It's very hard to stop him once he gets started talking about Bully, but while he does that, why don't you and I have a little chat? I'd like to thank you for watching this video from Outside Xbox and invite you, if you'd like, to watch yet more videos from Outside Xbox of the same standard and type coming every Thursday to the channel. In fact, why not subscribe if you'd like to do us a favour and hit the bell button and ask for notifications. That way every time we upload a video like this, you get a notification. You win, we win, everybody wins. Thanks for watching. See you next time.